Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host,
Brett Gilliland.
Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Circuit of Success. I'm your host, Brett Gilliland. Today I've got Dillon with me. Don, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you, Brett?
I am doing great. Here out in beautiful Los Angeles. I'm here in St. Louis, and I'm holding Sound Mind. Look at that. Got that stuff in the background there. You were nice enough to send these to us, and so our team got to try them. And I got to tell you, man, it's I'm looking forward to the conversation and hearing about this Sound Mind 6 brain boosts, and the packaging's phenomenal. Just everything about it, man. I love the story behind it, and looking forward to diving in with you. But before we dive in, Don, I always like to ask people what helped make them the man they are today.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good question, and that really weaves into the Sound Mind product and the technology that I acquired a few years ago. So really goes back to in the 90s. I was in the Navy. I was at Navy Officer Cadet School, and something bad happened. I just started having severe seizures, and a week before that first one, I'd received an injection of some sort, and then the seizure hit, and it was very severe. I was, it's the type where you lose consciousness, flop around on the ground, not breathing, heart stops. A few hours later, I wake up in the hospital in the ER, wondering what happened. So our first one, so I'm in the ER for a few hours, and then they release me. And so I go down the elevator, start walking through the lobby of the hospital, and splat, another one. So
Wow.
that was the end of my Navy career, and the first 2 of several hundred episodes like that over the next 4 years or so.
My
So,
goodness.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed my time in the Navy, and so maybe the biggest thing is, sort of, the scary situation with the health, but the fact that I lost the Navy, which, was a big hit for me at the time.
Sure.
And so I had to figure things out. So that, the next 4 years was a very challenging. There was points where I didn't expect to make it, sometimes didn't want to make it. And then we lucked out and found an alternate treatment that stopped the severe seizures. But I was still having, and essentially at that point, we figured out that it was that injection a week before the seizure that we think crashed my immune system. So essentially I became allergic to the world, or allergic to life.
So what was the injection for to begin with?
It's not clear in the records what it was, some sort of an inoculation.
Okay.
Don't know exactly.
Yep.
So it severely damaged my immune system. So I did start we found a treatment that stopped the seizures, the severe ones, but I was still having thousands of minor seizures. Even though I was kind of able to come back into the world, I was still having these minor seizures where just part of the brain was seizing. And even, from there, once I was able to come back to the world, I went to NYU, finance, got into in the finance world in New York, and still was having seizures. And as you know, in investment banking, you're 80 to 100 hours a week, and so also very challenging times. And so I had to figure that out. I had to figure, okay, well, I have to move forward. And so I essentially became a biohacker before it was a thing.
Okay.
And started just experimenting with everything, diet, nutrients, everything you can imagine, to keep myself going. And I ended up settling on a mix of the ketogenic diet. There's reasons for that. And then a mix of different nutrients that are known to improve cognitive function and just generally brain function. And what's interesting is many of those nutrients that I settled on, we put into the Sound Mind bar. And so that's why we're starting with that formulation. it really dovetails with my background. And it's the broadest of all of the sort of new different stacks that people say like biohackers take. That's the broadest. Nootropics is the broadest interest in the market. So, so that's the history of that, and so fast forward a few years, I'm this regimen that I've settled on. While it helps me, it settles down my brain, stabilizes my brain, so I'm not having the seizures or nearly as many.
So you still have them to this day?
I can have them if I'm not careful,
Okay.
So I have to be careful with my diet. I have to make sure I get the nutrients. But yes, I've controlled them much better, but they still have.
Wow.
And these nutrients have made a huge difference. So here I am dealing with this highly complex regimen just to keep myself upright, and thinking, well, I've got to figure this out. I've got to figure out a way to simplify it. And it was so fast forwarding, even after I left banking, I'm trying to figure that out. And you have a dynamic in the market, and you see the way to try to bring some convenience into a health regimen is through packaged foods. But the problem is packaged foods are not nutritious.
Right.
On the go foods are not nutritious. And so how can we combine the two? And so I was out looking for an option. As an investor, I was just started poking around food shows, and just looking what might be there, what technology might be out there, what opportunity might be out there. And so I went to one, hit it off with a guy at his booth, and he said, "You know what? Come to my office next week. I want you to see something." And so that introduced me to this technology, where we're using ultrasonic sound waves in a fraction of a second to cold form ingredients together to make a snack product, or as you saw, the bar. And so I was fascinated. Okay, this is interesting. If all these things are true, okay, maybe it's a great business opportunity, but most of what I'm thinking, can it help me?
Right.
Help my situation? Can we make supplements in a food form? Can we put them into a food form? And so that's why I investigated. It went through an SBIR program with NASA and the Navy, with the Army, excuse me. And so I spent a couple of weeks in Natick, Massachusetts, where the Army's R&D is, and with the inventor. And that experience as part of my due diligence, and hey, this is real. And so that's when I made the push to actually acquire the tech, and that we've been working on the commercialization ever since. And really, it's been a challenging. If anybody has any experience with manufacturing, it's one thing to have a benchtop technology and to make one product. It's a whole nother animal to make it at scale, make a bunch.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and get your packaging right, and then get the world to want to buy it.
Yeah, exactly right.
So you talked about these things that are in this bar. So would it be the six that are labeled here? Is that the biohacking that you went through? And so it looks like MCT oil, caffeine. I'm not smart enough to even pronounce this one. Phosphatidyl,
phosphatidylserine, citicoline. Yep. These are phospholipids and neurotransmitters.
Yeah. So you had these separately. You probably take maybe vitamin supplements, whatever it was, and then you said, "Hey, these are working. That one's not working. This one's working. This one's not working."
Yep.
And then now you bring them together. And so how do you bring it together and get it into this package right here?
Yeah, and that's the key: is that you bring it together into a convenient form and an enjoyable form. And so that's where the technology comes in, where we're able to use these sound waves, again, at a fraction of a second, to form the ingredients together. So conventional technologies using heat, pressure, and additives. Heat and pressure will damage the nutrients that are in a bar. most of the bars out there, anything that's using conventional processes, except for a cold form process that we can talk about, are damaging the nutrients. So there's no nutrition in there. Anything that was there before manufacturing was denatured.
Okay.
So they're really just they're protein, a lot of sugar syrups or a date paste, and flavorings. That's all they are. Protein and empty calories.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny, it's as I'm on this health journey the last 4 or 5 months, and you start to eat a few more protein bars, you find the ones that you like and then the ones that taste absolutely awful, but
Right.
But it's hard to make something that's good for you, but also something that tastes good, right? Because a Snickers bar tastes great. Probably not the best for me, right? Because there's not a lot of stuff
Probably
cooking in there for me. So,
yeah.
So what have you found to be the hardest thing? Think about our listeners here. They're all running different types of businesses or whatever they do for a living. Talk about the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, and that journey along the way.
Well, yeah. So I've got $2.5 million of my own cash on this, so I'm all in. It's the typical entrepreneurial story, right? Where it's all about solving problems, right? In this case, so you've got 100 problems, and you go about methodically attempting to solve them, right? So you solve one, and in the process you've uncovered 3 or 4 more, right? So every time it's just you feel like you're getting deeper and deeper into it, but. So there's many times that I question, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if we're going to be able to manufacture with this at scale. I just don't know if we're going to be able to get there, but there's no quit in me. So we just kept moving forward and figured it out. That's really what it comes down to. When I talk to, perhaps advise younger folks, I said, just don't quit. Just don't quit. If you think it's important, and if it's important to you, and if it's important to the world, you've got something, just don't quit. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Just keep moving forward.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. And so it's funny, you talk about, you get your own capital in it, right? You're all in, the no quit in me, to quote you.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly what I had, 12 years ago. 12 years ago, we started Visionary Wealth Advisors, and we're in an industry where wealth management firms have been around for hundreds of years.
Yep.
You're in an industry where the protein bars, right, packaging, all this stuff has been around for a long time. And I think that entrepreneurial and then that belief system to say, you know what, I'll put $2.5 million of my own money into this. I put my own money into Visionary. I'm all in. So my point to all that is, I think I know the answer to this is, what's plan B?
There's no plan B.
Exactly. I was hoping to God you were going to say that, right? But there was no plan B, right, for Visionary. There wasn't a plan B.
Right. Exactly. That's what just got to keep going.
That's right. So what is it about that? What can you,
the world.
Yeah. What can you share with our listeners about no plan B?
Well, there's nobody coming to save you, right? You have to figure it out. And, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. That's so good. Talk about your daily habits as a business owner, but as a human, to stay a student of the game, stay in good health. Like, what's that daily thing look like for you?
Yeah, it's challenging. So I mean, I have to keep my health. I've got this health issue, and just even today, I've been struggling. But the last week or so, I've been struggling with what's going on. I just have to make sure I'm very disciplined with my diet, and that's a challenge. Because all my friends are out, they're eating these things that, I would love to eat, but I can't, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to, have such a complex regimen, but it is what it is. It's what I have to deal with. That's my life. And so then I also have to make sure I get enough sleep. Right. I also have to make sure that I get consistent exercise. And that's just the way it is.
Are you pretty dialed in on that stuff? Like, I guess when it comes down to your own health like that, obviously exercise is for all of our health, but we may not have the issues that you have. So we can say, I don't want to do it today. Right. But I assume your situation, do you have those days? And if so, how do you get over that?
Of course. Of course. Well, sometimes I don't. I mean, I'm human, as just as everybody else, and so I slip for sure. But I pay for it. So, I'm reminded every day that if I slip, then, or not every day, hopefully not every day. I don't slip every day, hopefully.
Right.
But when I do slip, I'm reminded, hey, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you dream, man? I think that's important, right? As individuals, as humans, is to dream.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I look at, I try to solve problems. I'm trying to look at the world and, at society, where is there a problem? Where can I address it? So I guess that's my dream, is continuing to, find these opportunities, where I can make a difference for a lot of people, and just make it happen.
Yeah. And does that for you, does it just come naturally? Is that something you have to go away with a journal? Do you get away and have kind of your self retreat, your business leader, with your team have a retreat? Like, how do you guys dream there?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think, I read a lot, I study a lot. I pay attention to what's going on in the world as much as I can, and try to address when I see something that needs to be addressed. I try to do so. I think with sound, we think we're going to have such a massive impact on the world because of the fact so it enables a biohacker's regimen, makes it simpler, and maybe we allow more people to be a quote biohacker, or to have pursue a health and wellness lifestyles, because we're facilitating, we're making it easier, and we're bringing some joy into the process. But we can also have a huge impact on a variety of populations around the world, that are not able to access nutrition and eat well enough, right? And so we have some plans in the future where we can say we go to a population, wherever you want to pick, Africa or Southeast Asia, or wherever, some poor population that is not getting enough nutrition. And we believe, and we've done some work, that could we take a local dish, a popular dish in some local region, and create a snack product, a bar that roughly mimics the experience, the eating experience, but and the macros, but can we do it for a fraction of the cost? Can we do it for 10% of the cost? In utilizing, quote, orphaned ingredients that are orphaned by the supply chain, and we're confident that we can, just through the nature of our technology, we can use new ingredients that are not usable otherwise. But that you're still very nutritious. So I guess if there's a dream, that's one that we want to pursue and will pursue.
That's a big deal. That's a huge deal, actually. Yeah. So we'll talk about what this combination, this recipe, if you will, does for the common man or woman on the street, right? That maybe not have to deal with the unfortunate stuff that you have to deal with. Yeah. How does this bar help me and our listeners with everything that's in it?
Yeah, it's going to, there's immediate effect, and then there's a long-term cumulative effect, right? So, the caffeine and the L-theanine and the cytocholame, all of those nutrients, they'll start to give you a calming energy, if you will, the combination of them, and give you greater sort of mental clarity, sharpness. They'll make you feel like you're in the zone, if you will, immediately, but then over time that effect compounds. So, for example, I can't, very, very early on, when we were just making some early samples, we were still working on the manufacturing of the tech. I would be traveling around. I'd give some to my friends, and this would be throughout Europe and the U.S. I'd give samples to people just to try. Tell me what you think. And it was really fascinating that about 2/3 of the time I got a very similar response, and that is, I was really hungry when we met, and you gave me that little snack, and that's all I ate. And I went back to the office, or I went to the gym. And when I was at the office, I felt like I was just really in the zone. And I just, whether it's attorneys or bankers or whatever, I just felt like I got so much done over the next 3 or 4 hours, and I did not feel hungry at all. I was very, very satiated. And then, or I went to a workout and I felt great. I had a really great workout after eating that. Or then I have friends that are triathlete types, and they'll take it with them when they train. So there's a variety of use cases where it'll help people.
That's great. What do you look for on a label? Like, so if you're me and you go to the grocery store up the road, what should I be looking for that's good for me? And what should I be looking for that's not good for me?
Yeah, well,
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but specifically on like the quote unquote health bars that are not, not obviously not the candy bar type aisle, but the health food aisle.
Yeah, well, the sort of quote conventional technologies require a variety of additives to make it work, right? Because they need literally sticky stuff, whether sugar syrups or a date paste, or the gums like agar gum or xanthan gum or whatever, just literally stick it together. In our case, we don't need that. It's a process of using the sound waves that forms it together. So we don't need the additives, which gives us more room, more space for nutrition, for one. But then, essentially, if there's too many syllables, then if there's a lot of syllables, you probably want to avoid it. But you want to make it's got to look like real food. Now, in our case, we've got the phosphatidylcholine, the phosphatidylserine. There's a lot of syllables there. But those are phospholipids that are the cells. All of our cells' walls are made of those substances, so that helps to maintain the integrity of our cells. So, but yeah, you want to stay away. You want to look. It's got to look like food. The ingredients you want to see as much just food ingredients in there, and that's what you see in our label.
Yep.
And then we add the bioactive nutrients.
What role right now, if any, is AI playing in helping you and your company?
Yeah, it's helped us. It helps us a bit in some product development. I see that because our manufacturing process is completely digital. Every step, each bar is made individually, by the way. So it's this cold form directed energy process that makes it one at a time. Now we're able to make a bunch of them. It makes them very, very quickly, so we're able to make a lot over a period of time. But because it's digital and we're able to collect digital data for every one that we make, we know the energy, we know the amplitude, we know all of those elements that for every bar. I see that helping us with our manufacturing process down the line. So when we digitize and automate the weighing and the mixing side, then that becomes much more digital. And then I see those two sides talking to each other over time, and to optimize our manufacturing process even further, and then also possibly into product development, helping to figure out, we don't yet know where our technology breaks. We don't know where the edge of its capabilities are yet. So I can see AI helping us find where that is, take it to the extreme. And then of course on the other side, we're still very early in our marketing process, but certainly there's a lot of tools where it could be used there, automating certain back office processes, et cetera.
Yeah. So what was it about you that you thought, you know what, I can do this? You know, I know I need this for my own health. But you know what, I'm the man. Right guy, right time, right? What made you think about that?
You know, I don't know. I'm not sure I really thought about that. It's just, I was just compelled to do it. Never really thought about whether I was the guy or not. I just, look, this needs to get done. And now I'll tell you, I question myself in many steps along the way, and have. I mean, I think that's the entrepreneurial journey. Is you do after a tough day or week or year, it's you start, wow, can I do this? Can we do this? So there's always that, but like I say, you just have to have the mentality of you just don't quit. Don't give up.
How do you quiet that mind? How do you quiet it to where it's, that person's telling you may not be the guy or this, whatever, right? How do you shut that person up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's, I often tell myself, this is the life I chose, and so, yeah.
I did this to myself.
Yes, I did exactly. I'm doing exactly what I want, right? Yep. I wouldn't want it any other way. So, it's hard. It's really hard, but that's life too. If you're going to do anything important, you have to push through this time. And that's what I tell my kids. So, right. And then when I was, way back when, before I went in the Navy, I was coaching high school basketball. And the one thing I didn't care if they missed a shot. You can shoot an air ball. You can dribble the ball off your foot. You can throw the ball away. Whatever, you can make a mistake. As long as it's a mistake of effort, I'll never pull you out of the game. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you're not giving 100% effort and you quit on yourself and your teammates, that's when you come out of the game. And so, there was a point when I was really, really sick and wanted to quit. My own words rang out in my head. And, then I realized, if I do this, then I'm a hypocrite. Right. And it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm gone, but it just devastates my family, my parents. And, so anyway, well, you really got me there, Brett.
489 interviews. That might be the longest pause I got. I'm happy but that tells me something about you, man. It's like you care, right? Like you're not doing this because obviously, you want to make money. Yes, you want to have a great bottom line and be profitable. But what I love about humans and what I'm always curious about is what makes them tick. And this is your, make a dent in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah. When you think about your leadership role, obviously you spent time in the U.S. Navy, and investment banking. What would you say your leadership role is to lead your people and lead your team?
Well, some of my team is here. Maybe we should ask them. But I like to just bring in as much talent, smart people as I can. Get as many great people around me as possible. And I'm extremely lucky with the quality of people that I have. I don't want them to hear this, but I'm just really lucky that we have such a high quality group of people that are passionate and really believe in what we're doing and are just giving it their all. And then my view is let's just let them go, let them do their job. They have the talent to do it. If I get in the way, then it only harms the team, harms me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I don't need the credit. The goal is just build a great company.
Yeah. It makes me think about, so when I'm 48 years old, I hired my first assistant when I was 24. And I look back at what the heck was young Brett thinking? I have a kid that's 20. You're going to be 21 this year. And I'm thinking, how does that guy, because if you just saw the 20 or 21-year-old Brett, you'd say there's no way in hell that guy's going to have an assistant in 3 years, right?
Right.
And I think about my own kids, like, gosh, man, I can't imagine them having an assistant in 3.5 years. But there was something, right? There was this purpose and this passion. And I looked at people as an investment to make a bigger impact. Sure. And I think sometimes people look at people as an expense, right? I don't look at it as an expense. It's an investment. So when you hear that, kind of that investment versus expense, what comes to mind for you?
Oh, well, certainly. It's absolutely an investment. In fact, many times when I'm interviewing somebody, I ask them, what do you want? Let's say, assume you come aboard with us. What do you want your next job to be? What do you want next? And how can we help you get there? Even before they come work for us. Now, hopefully they stick with us and they're with us forever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if somebody has an entrepreneurial bug and they want to go build something of their own, they want to do something, there's a step process that they have a vision in their life. And sure, I want to help them do that. And I have along the way with I hope with a variety of people in multiple businesses that I've headed up.
Yep. What do you want to tell our listeners about sound.food? www.sound.food. That's where they can find more about this. I'm assuming find more about you on there. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's hopefully when this episode drops, it will be up. It's not up right now as we tape, but it will be soon. You can go there and learn more about the technology, about the products themselves, a little bit about me. And you can soon you'll be able to actually order some of the product, and otherwise
exciting.
Put in a pre-order, but very soon, next 3 or 4 weeks or so.
That's exciting, man. Congratulations on the launch. That's a big deal.
Yeah, thank you. It is.
That's great.
It's been a heck of a journey, but a lot of fun.
Well, I think it's pretty cool to say that a snack bar that saved your life, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
and
right.
I can't wait to watch the journey. And man, thanks for being on the Circuit of Success podcast.
Thank you, Brett. It's really enjoyed it. Thank you.